Don't forget the slides. We're looking good. We're feeling good. Okay. G'day, everyone. You are watching, listening, engaging with, experiencing episode 12 of the Old World Behemoths. We're running a little light on the cast today. It is for the second time that we've recorded this evening. Myself and Alex. Alex, how are you going?
First of all, it's episode 11, Tom.
Did I not say that?
You said 12, but I love that Riverside now gives us a Tom and Alex take two in the top of it. So I am going well. And for the second time tonight, I'm going to point out that I have not finished painting my entire army. And I have 5 days to go until completion. And miracles can happen and will happen if you have faith.
Must happen, in fact. I do remember for the second time since tonight's recording, you had said that you actually hadn't even started sort of working or remembered that you had to bring a baggage train. How's that one going?
Yeah, not well. Not well.
Okay.
So I had these grandish desires to bring the blimp, as we've spoken about before, and it's not printed, right? But again, when mountains need to be climbed, things can happen.
Call the ogres. Hey? No? Come down the mountains of Monite. I'll move on.
Take three.
In terms of my baggage train, I'll give you guys a little sneak peek. I'm working on a tent. It's actually really cool. I actually think it looks great, and it really exemplifies a baggage train, unlike a blimp. It's simple. It's nice. Feng shui.
The blimp is so thematic. It is so up there with theme. No one can counter it, right? So you hear people commenting, it's got to be functional. I've got to be able to move my unit over it, difficult terrain, and so forth. Listen to me. The expedition force is not rocking up in a little pony cart. They're coming in an airship. And they're launching those gyrocopters off the airship. Okay?
I can't wait. Can't wait to see it. I'm really excited.
I mean,
so
one more thing. One more thing. There is one thing that we need to discuss about the blimp, which is, do I make it removable off the base?
No.
Okay, so you're going no. You're going full style points over function.
Full style points. Yep. Go for it. Go hard or go home. That's what the Thanes always say when they're 15 pints deep, you know?
I love it. I love it.
So look, before we get into, of course, our main topics tonight, which is really just deep diving the three of us, Chris being absent, the three of us that are actually attending the tournament, deep diving our lists. We've got our round one opponents as well, so we'll deep dive our opponents' lists, and we'll just have a brief chat about the mission as well. But of course, before we get into that, we have to thank all of our patrons. Could not do what we do without you. We actually officially now have patron money that covers our Riverside subscription for the first time ever. So that is actually huge news. So we really, really thank you guys for that. And, if you want to keep contributing, or if you want to drop out now because you know that we've gotten where we want, that's so fine. We'd understand.
Put it back on Tom's credit card.
Exactly. Poor uni student Tom. Hey, Big Daddy H, thank you for the subscription. I really, really appreciate it. Let's go next slide.
By the way, some of these names are incredible. I think if you watch Fanatics, and if you don't, please do go and check them out and subscribe. When they do their Patreon readouts, I think they've got a couple of guys that actually change their username every week. Also,
okay.
Big Daddy H, the Big Dog, whatever you want.
So I'm the harp daddy. So I feel like this guy's just taking a stab at me, and I don't know if I appreciate it.
Also, big shout out to 25 Creative, who continues to provide us with the graphic support to make the channel look as good as it does.
Definitely one of the best looking channels out there. So the event that we're going to attend in 5 or 6 days' time, depending on when you're watching. It could be longer, it could be shorter, is going to be the Spring Fling on the 27th of September, of course, run by one of our favorite groups ever, the Western Sydney Wargamers. So we did do a deep dive-ish on this a few weeks ago. I think it was episode 9 or 10. So if you guys do want to have a little bit more of a deep dive on it, please go and check out that video. But it's basically sort of the old school Throne of Skulls format by Games Workshop. Whatever they officially released. So maximum 1 level 4. You can have a couple of level 3s, any number of level 1s or 2s. There's a few limits in terms of what types or the numbers of units you can bring. And of course, a lot of the battle points in the match play guide have actually become the victory points in the match play guide have become battle points in the WSWG Spring Fling event. So we can have links down, of course, in the description below, but it's going to be a 3-round event. And myself, Alex, and Chris from the Old World Behemoths are going to be in attendance. Alistair, unfortunately, cannot make this one.
Can't make this one. I think, Thomas, I think by GW standards in the match play guide, I've just been using the Grand Melee and Combined Arms subsection in Old World Builder, which is basically
Throne of
this
Skulls
as a whole. Yeah. But I think the great thing about this format and the continued success of WSWG is they try out new things. I don't think we've had the same comp list restrictions twice in a row at any of the events as a whole, maybe bar the very first 2 events.
When everyone's just getting their feel for it and all that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, Western City Wargamers, I mean, we always harp on about this and we will continue to harp on about this. Just the best. Really, really unreal events, 40-man events, once, slightly more frequently than once a quarter here in New South Wales. If you haven't been there, try and get tickets. They sell out so quick, but you'll have the best time.
Yeah, and you've got a good point here too about each battle point is approximately 250 kill points. And we saw this have a great level of success at the last event where it was primarily focused around scoring quarters and hills and so forth, but only with units with standard bearers.
With standards, exactly.
Yeah, and you could swing a game easily by 1,000 kill points by simply playing the missions, which is where this has been backed up to again. And I guess we'll be going over that into more detail, but oh yes, we are.
Yeah.
Straight into it.
Always. So look, we'll put the pack down below, and of course our reference to the last video where we actually went through all of the missions this time around. Game 1 is the only mission in the pack in this sort of mission set with 2 secondary missions, or at least 2 missions that are going on concurrently. So we've got the domination, which is of course the table quarters. So it's going to be unit strength in table quarters at the end of the game. You don't have to be core, you don't have to be anything special, just have to be unit strength in the quarters. And the way that WSWG have split this one up, or divided or deviated from the actual match play format, is that if you control more than your opponent, you just get a flat 2 victory points. 2 battle points, which is roughly 500 victory points. So on that, 0 to 20 scale, in terms of how many points you and your opponent score, you're going to get an extra little 2 if you control more than your opponent. So 1 to 2, or 2 to 3, well, you can't have that, but however many quarters you control are directly going to be going into your battle point score. And then, of course, that 18-inch bubble in the middle is sort of uniquely positioned also for the special feature, which is, I believe, at the end of the game, if you control that, it has to be a core unit, has to have at least unit strength 10 or more. You'll get an additional 2 battle points. So there's a lot on the table here.
Yeah, and I think in our test games, we've sort of found that you never score both. It's this odd thing where you end up either scoring the middle, and then your opponent scores the domination, or in a few of those games, you end up scoring domination and nobody gets the central feature.
Special. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a bloodbath in the middle as a whole. And I think with this map particularly, when people actually see and play it, it's very, of course, focused in the middle of the board, but it's a fight straight away. And most people are used to deploying in a big long line, and the box takes a bit of getting used to, because you can very easily just put a unit down, especially for you, Tom, with large blocks. You put a unit down and suddenly go, oh, hang on a minute, I've
tripped myself up.
Yeah, I've entirely blocked a lane, if you want to use that terminology, in which I'm going to move units through, because if I don't have move through cover for the woods, I'm completely hampered.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I admittedly haven't had a practice game on this one yet, and I must say I think I'm pretty scared of my first round matchup, which we'll get into in a moment. But I think I'll probably have to throw down against something to see what this is going to be like. I mean, I don't have that many units, I think, which is quite nice. It really lends itself to domination, I believe, and probably maybe slightly advantageously against my opponent in round one. But I think the fight for the middle is going to be brutal. So I'm very excited to see.
And we should point out, for clarity's sake, because there's been people asking this, when you roll at the start of the game for a deployment map, you choose one of the quadrants as the winning player. So if you choose deployment A1 with the building on the bottom left, your opponent deploys in A2.
Yeah.
And vice versa. If it's B1, it's B2, and so forth. Interestingly, I've had 3 games of this map. Everybody has chosen the Bs. So either B1 or B2 for the hills. I think it's also to do with the fact that the forest is less of a, well, it's quite literally able to be moved through as opposed to the building.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting on the day to see which table you get. Will also depend on how big that building is, because some of the buildings at the event are massive, like towers,
right?
You know, with a large base. Some of them are little orc huts as a whole. So if you got a lot of units, you'd be praying for that one as a whole. Additionally, there has been talk about some water features being on the board.
Just going to ask about that. Going to ask about the water feature.
I wonder, Tom, where we think it's going to go.
What does a water feature even do? Because they're not in the main rulebook, are they? Okay. Right.
Well, if they're not, basically, I think the guy shouted out. I think they are somewhere in there. Doesn't block line of sight. Effectively, just difficult terrain, unless you're aquatic and you have a special rule to move through that.
Lizard men coming in clutch.
There is one player who's been waiting for this the entire time.
Is this the first WSWG controversy?
No,
we've had a pay to win sort of. Someone's like slip one of the boys $50.
Skinks can move through it without being difficult terrain, and then get blasted while standing out in the open. As a whole, no. So Pete, you know, known as the only Warhammer player in the northern beaches, is over the moon that they've finally returned this. But anyway, let's move on and get looking at my list. Now, Tom, I have to say I've copped a bit of flack on this one. Because
I was making this slide today, you know, just before, while I was hard at work. And I was thinking, what the actual heck have you decided to go with here? You know, we've done ethics episodes, we've done moral episodes, we've done, you know, bastion of the community episodes, and here you are, just basically, you know, bringing back the seal clubbing days of old, just trying to wrangle some noobs. What's going on?
Look, Expeditionary Force has a win rate.
It's Expeditionary Force's fault, right?
Of 41%. Okay, 41%.
Balanced.
This is moral immunity. I'm telling you.
You're the diplomatic passport idiot.
By one of the worst weapons in the game, which we'll get to. which is in this list.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you are right, Tom. There is a version of Expeditionary Force within Dwarves, which could be conceived to be quite an unpleasant way to play the game.
But not this one.
Not this one. This one
Okay.
is probably a 6 out of 10 on that scale in that one.
Compared to my Ogre's roster, where does that sit? Is it linear or exponential?
Yours is probably like a 9 out of 10.
Right.
Toxicity level, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So Expeditionary Force, if people aren't aware of what they do, have 2 key pillars in them. One is the introduction of the Engineer Sapper, which has been the topic of conversation now for weeks. The topic of a poll in the chat, in the WhatsApp group, endless emails to Games Workshop FAQ around entrenchment. And entrenchment is basically take a leadership test at the start of any of the command phases. Any. So that's including yours as well. And
Okay.
if the test is passed, the unit becomes entrenched, which means that they're defending a low linear obstacle and behind partial
No
cover.
impact hits, baby. That's fantastic.
No impact hits. Yeah, it's a great rule, but you're stationary, right? And dwarves are, of course, known for their speed, right? And whatnot. So in theory, it's actually quite a flavorful rule, right? You can imagine a dwarf unit running up, the shovels come out and they quickly dig a trench that's only 2 feet deep. That's all they need to go. And they're kind of away, right? But in practice, it's actually a bit of a nightmare because the rules stipulate that, if there's movement, it drops out. Are you entrenched on all sides?
Any movement as well,
yeah,
right?
And,
Like that's
any movement and so forth. Does the entrenchment apply to your flanks, to your rear? Are you 360? Right? Is a war machine 360? Is it front? Who knows? Right? Can you entrench a skirmish unit and so forth? These are all questions that have had to be asked in the day-to-day application, mostly because, Tom, incredibly, people like me, yes, but the most common army at Oldhammer is Expedition Force and Vampire counts. My gosh, no one was expecting that.
Oh,
no
my
one was
poor
expecting
ogres.
that. So we'll cover off on a couple of things, right? But the second pillar of Expeditionary Force are the introduction of the Scout Gyrocopter. So effectively, if you want to play dwarves, you have a few choices. If you want to play combat dwarves, you can play Royal Clans. If you want to play mixed arms with iron breakers and hammerers and things like that, you can play mainline dwarves. And of course, those exist in Royal Clan, but you can also include cannons in the main force. Expedition Force are the more shooty army. They have a thing called function over form, which means that cannons, flame cannons, and organ guns lose move or shoot. So they can move. It's only 3 inches, but they can move and shoot, which is
quite nice, actually. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it turns grape shot into a 15-inch threat range, which can be surprising. You can move a cannon and still shoot it if someone's trying to charge it and so forth. So the list design, one, you have to always have an engineer as a whole. But my general is a sapper, and he has the Master Rune of Calm, which for the past 18 months, I have completely misread, thinking that it could only go on runesmiths or rune lords. I was totally wrong. Thank you to Richie, Dare After Dark, for pointing that out to me as a whole after he criticized this list and said, you're missing 2 key things. One is you don't have a Master Rune of Calm, and 2, you don't have your John Wick Gun Thane, which is the one that like auto hits everything and generates lots of hits. Master Rune of Calm effectively is a bounce spell. It gives you a bubble that adds +2 to the casting difficulty of your opponent's spells if it goes off. And if you get it, it's within 18 inches, and if you roll obviously higher, it goes to a much larger range as a whole. So if it goes off, it can quite effectively shut down your opponent's magic phase. There's a second Engineer Sapper in there with a Rune of Passage that gives move through cover to the Sapper themselves, which we'll go into in a second. An Engineer, Standard Engineer, as a Battle Sounder Bearer with a Rune of Courage, which allows me to automatically pass Fear and Terror tests for the unit that he's in. Critical for like Mission 1. You don't want to be just standing in the middle of the board with dwarves, low movement, and get terrored off the objective.
And fail. Yeah,
and
of
fail.
course.
He's got a Rune of Passage as well, and a Rune of the Furnace. Has to take Rune of the Furnace because there's already a Rune of Passage on the Standard Sapper. So you can't just have 2 standardized Runes of Passage across there. 2 units of 17 ranges. And the reason why I've got Runes of Passage on the Engineer Sapper and the Engineer is because the ranges themselves have moved through cover.
Right.
And these guys are going in there. But if they didn't have that, then the unit would get totally screwed over by moving through forests and whatnot. So the idea is the Battle Sounder Bearer with the Rune of Passage goes in the unit with the General because the General does not have the Rune of Passage. He can't afford it. He's only got 50 points of Rune allowance. But that passes on. Rune of Passage actually passes on, move through cover to the unit that he's in as well, which is good. Now, controversially, again, getting critiqued for this in the Dowie Discord, I did not take great weapons on the Rangers, could not find the points. Could not find the points as a whole. So they're just there to score, be annoying, be entrenched, take objectives as a whole. I went with throwing axes because I want to be able to stand and shoot against things coming into me.
Yep, regardless of range.
Regardless, as a whole. So it just helps to have them. Now, 2 units of scout gyrocopters in core.
So what's their unit strength?
Of the scout gyros?
Yeah, of an individual scout gyro.
So they're monstrous cav. So 3.
Okay.
So each...
So
they're not what?
They're not going to be grabbing some of the scoring stuff. They can still baggage train, etc. But
they can absolutely baggage train. Yeah. And in Mission 1, the gyros only count for domination purposes. And with their speed, that's kind of what it is, right? In the table quarters. But they're not there to go and score. Yep. They're there to be harassing units. But you can take 2 in core, which is good. On the X-Force. I've taken a 3rd unit in special because they're actually a special choice that moved to core. Notably, again, in those limitations that we were provided by the players pack, you can't just, even though if you're in core, you can't continue to spam more.
Yeah, so you couldn't do 2 in core and then another 3 in special. You had to.
Yeah, I think
3 is 3.
Well, I think
right?
special is 0 to 4 in the pack. So you couldn't take 2 in core and 2 in special.
2 in core and 4 in special.
Oh, whatever it is. We could have it right. Anyway, the point is 3 units is max in this instance. I've gone 3 cannons here, mostly because I genuinely thought we were going to have like 4 or 5 Cathay players and there would be balloons flying around and I just wanted to be able to smack out balloons.
Do you remember how many we have?
We have 1. Incredibly, we only have 1. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, depending on the buy.
They've had,
yeah, which is, I'm shocked by that. Maybe because, as we discussed with Pashtot, the expense is too high to get into. But
to Cathay,
yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's people are not vibing it here, but that was why I went the 3 cannons and 2 additional bolt throwers because again, I thought I want to kill a balloon. Like I just want to one shot that
just
balloon.
One. Just right? one.
Yeah,
just give me one.
Just one, right? But they also serve as access to magic attacks. So the other prediction that we made was vampire counts was going to make a large appearance, which they have. It's without the gun thane in quotation marks in dwarves has a magic weapon and he fires and so forth. But I thought, okay, if I do have to come up against a lot of vampire counts with ethereal, being able to move cannons, grape shot, shoot cannons, and so forth is going to come in handy.
That's
so
massive.
Forth. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
massive.
The cannons as a whole have runes of reloading. No runes of forging. I just could not afford. I couldn't find the points. And runes of forging are the one use if you roll a misfire.
Yeah.
Your way.
Like an engineer sort of reroll kind of vibe.
Yeah. So the engineer because he's a BSB, his engineer reroll is 12 inches.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm, as Alex Brown from 2+ would say, playing the odds to say that, okay, out of the 3 cannon shots per turn, probably higher likelihood to misfire at least one. Therefore, I've got a reroll for that one. But runes of reloading are, okay, if fate is fate and I misfire all 3 cannons as a whole, as long as they don't blow up, they can continue to fire.
That's good.
The next turn.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple of different things like Stalwart Rune, adds combat resolution, Rune of Burning's on there. But again, that's more for being able to have Rune of Reloading.
Yeah, the dual rule.
Yeah, and Rune of Skewering is +1 strength on the bolt thrower and ignores armor save.
Ooh, that's brutal. Yeah, I mean, this is just going to mince my ogres. I can tell.
We may not play.
It's for Cathay. It's for Cathay, I swear. Yeah.
Well,
no, that's cool.
This is where, much to the chagrin of our dear fellow Behemoth, Alistair, the 3 gyrocopters ×2 at the end in special. These are standard gyrocopters, so they're only ballistical 3. I'm going with the strength 3 flame template, the steam gun on this one. Again, shouted from the rafters. I had the British shouting at me. I had the Americans shouting at me. Do not take steam gun. Only the noobs of all noobs would take a steam gun. Like the absolute peak competitive edge is clatter guns on everything as a whole. I thought, you know what? I'm not going to be that guy. That guy. I'm going to bring 6 strength 3 flame templates.
And does it turn out that that's even worse?
Well, it's against the right unit.
That's a lot of hits.
Oh yeah.
Don't,
Tom, against your Noblars, your unit's gone.
Well, the Noblars are just there to die, aren't they?
They're gone, mate. They're gone. You know. Against your bulls, these things are not going to do anything. They're going to just tickle. Well, okay, sure. You're well, we'll see. We'll see in your list, mate. They'll just tickle around the edges as a whole. So, unfortunately for me, my fellow X-Force players at the event went the other flavor of X-Force, which is the low gyro units mass entrenchment approach. So I have ended up having 12 of the 19 gyrocopters.
Jesus.
Oh,
that
gosh.
Is insane.
I'm never going to live it down, Tom.
You're never going to live it down.
I'm going to lose all 3 games. Watch. But I'm never going to live it down. Never going to live it down.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Well,
this could be a problem.
We'll see who I'm playing. So Patty Gallagher, she and I drew each other first round, and she's bringing her Wood Elves this time around. Been playing Chaos Dwarves for ages. When I last played her was December last year, I think. So it's almost been a year since I've drawn her. She was playing a Chaos Dwarves then. She's gone for max characters. Orion.
This is a real fragile set of.
Yeah, but Tom, the thing is,
Alex, just look at me in the eye for a moment, right? You've got 3 cannons. You've got 2 bolt throwers.
Well, hang on a minute.
You've got 6 strength 3 auto hitting flame templates coming out of your gyrocopters. Then you've also got the Clattercon Scout.
Tom.
You know what I mean?
Tom, listen to me. This is Australia's number 1 player.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
She's not going to let me just sit there and go, oh, here's 3 strength 3 flame templates on my 10 war dancers, which are neatly packed in a little box for you to kill in 1 hit. Right?
But the poor Glade Riders, the poor Wild Riders, the poor the poor Sisters of the Thorn, you know?
Look, Patty's probably played 100 games more than I have.
No,
So
100%. If not more.
I'm sure she's played Expeditionary Force as a whole. Don't get me wrong. I think the onus of movement will be stronger on her part by far than on mine, because you're right. If there's any type of miscalculation, and a flame template can hit 5 guys instead of 3,
That's big.
that's big, because 3 templates, extra hits, low toughness.
We'll say you don't have a lot of counter to Orion and the Glade Lord outside of your shooting, right?
Correct.
You know, if they your center will buckle pretty quick if you can't really contain the Dragon or Orion into your Ranger units. Well, there's not a lot you can do.
Yeah, well, an entrenched unit can tank the Dragon as a whole, right? But again, Paddy's not going to be sending in the Dragon solo into the Ranger unit, right? It's going to be combo charges, Orion plus the Glade Lord, possibly as a whole, probably the Cavalry plus the Glade Lord as a whole. Remember, it's about, for her, using evasive as she can, and the Dragon has evasive as a whole. So
that's interesting.
Yep. So angling the Dragon in a way where she can move up, lumber, evasive out of the way, but to her betterment, if that's a word I could use, is definitely a tactic that can be used there. The Orion himself basically can allocate hits to the dogs. Now, again, the dogs that are ethereal can get killed by my magical artillery. But if you can imagine a cannon hitting Orion, one cannon shot will get allocated to the dog. And that cannon shot, okay, it'll kill the dog, but now it's gone. Right, that cannon shot's gone. So think of the 2 ethereal dogs against those cannons more as just one-up ward saves, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm just going to auto-negate those two hits. And, of course, the Rangers shooting is not going to do anything as a whole. So I think there's a few other ones in here that have evasive as a whole. The Wild Riders do not, but War Dancers, I'm pretty sure they do. Wild Riders, I'd have to check, but
Sisters of the Thorn would, though, right?
Yeah. Wild Riders, they want to be charging, right?
Yeah, they hit real hard. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing there is, with the additional Wood Elf wood that comes along with these things.
I always forget about that.
Yeah. As a whole, that there's basically, she can just not deploy it within 12 inches of the board, right? Sorry, of the center of the board. I'm just checking.
Okay, so you can't just whack it on the special feature or something similar.
You can't whack it on the special feature, but with the way the map is designed, you can very easily fit it into between one of the forests and one of the buildings to create a full line of sight blocking line that you need to go into, even to the point where it could be like, okay, Alex, you need to pop round the corner to shoot me, and if you don't kill me, you're getting multiple units of Wild Riders into your gyros or whatnot. So I think the first few turns are going to go fast, if I had to predict how it's going to go. And it'll be decided in the final few turns what happens. For sure, she'll want me to go first so that she could push me off the objective on the last turn, and then move some of the cavalry units in to take it. But yeah, I mean, the thing about Patty is, she's almost like using Oldhammer as like a training ground, right? It's not, oh my gosh, I'm going up against gyros, even though I heard you said that, Patty. It's more like, okay, let's see how I can beat this list, and then use that for the next event. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Look, I've never played against Wood Elves. You know, I feel like if I was just going to go off on a limb, there's a lot of shooting that can deal with this. But then the intricacies or the play between Orion and these ethereal hounds, that's fantastic, albeit countered a little bit by all the magic attacks off your ranged artillery. The Glade Lord could cause some issues with evasive or elusive or whatever it's called.
Evasive,
yeah, but I feel like if you can whack down the core, which is not substantial, it's sure it's 695 points, but it's what 20 models on the dot. If you can really new to that, there's not a lot of play in terms of getting units with a high amount of unit strength into the quarters, or even just at least trying to vie for the special objective in the middle. So feel like advantage Alex, but I've been burned before.
Yeah, I mean anything can happen, right? It's a case of if the safest place to be is in combat for her, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And if she moves up aggressively, then you take it. So like the questions in my mind are, do you scout the Rangers up to the central objective and just entrench and try and hold, right? Because
I feel like that's a waste.
Well, because then it's like literally I'm going to pop the dragon straight at you and Orion straight at you, right? Because most of her units have moved through cover as a whole, so the forests don't really matter to her. It does matter for like the special feature, you still drop the lowest dice, the water feature, and so to the lowest dice. But when you move Fly 10 Dragon, Orion's, he's going to be high movement. Most of the cavalry are high movement anyway. It's not going to matter as a whole. So I'm keen. I'm keen to see how this goes, because I'm fortunate that my little magic defense item has literally got 0, but not going to make complaints. Not going to be making complaints against her.
Yeah. No, it'll be interesting. This will be, a very, very unique interaction. I mean, it almost feels like this is David up against Goliath in terms of the list archetypes, right? There are counters that Patty can make, but it really feels like this is inherently quite a bad matchup for her. But we'll see. Yeah, she is Australia's number 1 player for a reason. So
absolutely, yeah, and good to play her again, because it's been almost over 9 months. Over 9 months. Okay, moving on.
Let's have a look
to Chris's list. We'll fly through this.
Yeah. So look, I think I'll take the handle on Chris's list, and then maybe you can have a crack at the counter. So Chris has got a fairly straightforward ogre roster with some interesting choices. We've got a mounted tyrant on the Stonehorn with the Tenderizer and Talisman of Protection. That's fairly stock standard. He's going to be 4 up, 5 up, with a strength 7 or strength 6. No, strength 7, 6 attack, beater. The wound reductions will be coming in from the Stonehorn as well, which is fantastic. We've got a great weapon bruiser with the war banner, which is beautiful. But then we've also got the Mastodon armor, which feels like a very expensive piece of full plate armor. It's a 40-point full plate set with a 6-up ward save. But then you've also got a Slaughtermaster with a Lore Familiar in Battle Magic, which means that you're almost certainly taking Oaken Shield. So I don't really know why you're taking Mastodon armor, because then you've had to make sacrifices in, say, the Mordenfang Cavalry, which you can see on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. They actually don't have Bull Standard. So there's a few things here that are interesting to me, and I'll be very keen to see how they play out on the field. But 40 points for full plate armor. I mean, that's like a 6-point upgrade in a lot of other factions, for example. So anyway, we've got the Demon Slayer scars on the Slaughtermaster, which gives the bearer terror, which is great. We've got a level 3, which I feel like all you need to go for in ogres these days, just by way of how magic works now. Lore Familiar is fantastic because the signature spells of ogres aren't fantastic anyway. But yeah, really what you're trying to hit is that 24-inch D-spell range, 24-inch sort of casting range on some of these spells, and the Lore Familiar to be able to usually pick, I think it's Hammerhand a lot of the time for Chris. Curse of Arrow Attraction would not be a thing in this list unless you really want to play around with some of those throwing weapon Noblars. So you're probably going to be taking something like, Fireball, Oaken Shield, and Arcane Urgency. That's probably what you're going for. Iron Guts,
Definitely.
you got the Gut Star with the Cannibal Totem. So that's going to be giving you regen. So ultimately, you've got your two characters, being the Bruiser and the Slaughtermaster, in with your Iron Guts. You're hoping to get them all to a 5-up heavy armor, which is what they come stock standard with. Then you've got your 5-up Oaken Shield, and then you've got your 5-up regen at the back. So that's the triple stack that we love. 2 units of Saber Tusks with Vanguard. Now, I feel like these are very expensive units now for unit strength 2, right? Because these are still war beasts, albeit they're ogre war beasts. They've got the best profile in the ogre book, being weapon skill 4, strength 4, toughness 4. They've got a good amount of attacks, but due to the fact that they have such low unit strength and they're only 4 points cheaper than unit strength 20 Noblars, I feel like they're what you should be gravitating towards. And, if you really want to splurge, you could upgrade maybe the 2 Sabertusk packs to Noblar Trappers, because then at least you've got a way to scout forward into some midline objectives, and not just going off your blocks of Noblars. But, they can still get in the way and they can do some things. But I found in the old world, at least, and, this is purely or potentially a purely novice sort of way of thinking, but they can't really get in the way as much because the overrun is so strong, right? You can really make them align to try and overrun in a different direction. But the ability to reform quite quickly and do some of the tricky things with movement or restrain and reform, etc. I haven't really felt like it slows down a lot, and getting bodies on objectives seems quite important. But that could, again, be an inexperienced thing, and I'd love to hear the commentary from our audience, because I'm always looking to get better. And then we've got an Iron Blaster, stock standard, and 4 Mournfang, which both have heavy armor and great weapons, and unfortunately no bull standard, which is usually the sort of way that they go. And if you watch our most recent episode, or the one before the most recent one, Chris is talking about how he couldn't quite afford the bull standard. But I definitely would have been getting rid of the Mastodon armor to try and afford that, because they really pack a punch with those reroll impact hit wounds. I think that's almost a mandatory upgrade on the Mournfang. So yeah, what do you think, Alex? Any comments?
With more artillery coming into the game, I can see the Saber Tusks still having a role for sure, because it's still fast moving. I mean, you've had some unfortunate combats with Dwarf War Machine crews where you've actually lost combat as a whole, but generally speaking, I think it's okay to still have those fast moving units. I agree. I think he's going to be going for the Arcane Urgency. Still is the number 1 spell in the game for sure.
Definitely.
For sure.
Definitely.
As a whole. Unless I've completely forgotten about some Cathay item which lets you cast the same magic missile like 5 times. Oh wait, does that exist?
Oh, calm down.
So
Meow.
yeah, I mean the
Meow Ying, sorry.
Well, yeah, but this is what he knows, right? The Ring of Jet, actually, I think it's called, Tom. This is a list he knows and has played a few times, like the Ogre block, the introduction of the Noblars as a whole. Still, like, cheapest scoring unit in the game, possibly.
Knobs. Yeah.
Knobs outside of zombies are probably the next, if not equivalent, most useful cheap scoring unit, because they can simply come back.
Yeah.
En masse, which is great.
2 points per model. It's nuts.
Yeah. So, who's he playing? Damien's more dwarves, Tom. More dwarves. Who would have known that in 2025 dwarves would be the most common faction at the event? So Damien has been furiously painting. He's been sending some photos in the WhatsApp group. He's going for a brassy themed royal clan list. Now, coming back to the comments before about the types of dwarves, royal clans have more limited access to shooting than most other dwarf armies. But for that, they swap out advantages such as when they charge or when they follow up and so forth and pursue, they get +1 strength. So you absolutely do not want to give them the momentum in order to win the combat, move, because they're not charging. Again, the dwarves, they're not charging as a whole. Now, he's got the Blender King here, which with the Master Rune of Smiting, which is the D6 wounds. You've played that, Tom. I played that in my Royal Clans list earlier this year. As a whole, the Rune of Preservation basically means that he's immune to multi-wound weapons. So the Tenderizer is just basically a big, great weapon on that side. But, you know, I think Chris will be trying to avoid that king at all costs.
Definitely.
Because it can rack up so much combat resolution, even against standard Iron Guts as a whole. The Rune Lord is there to provide Dispel ability and buffs to the units. Royal Clan Warriors are basically Dwarf Warriors, but with additional additional rules, better access to banners and so forth, which he hasn't taken up in this one. Rune of Confusion basically means you're making a disordered charge against them, so no initiative bonuses.
Brutal.
Well, it's brutal against Iron Guts because against dwarves, even if you charge the dwarves, he's striking before you, right? At initiative 2, if you charge him with great weapons, you're at initiative 1, no matter what, as a whole. 20 Longbeards, which is always good to have. 17 Hammerers, so he's definitely going for combat blocks here. Master Rune of Grugni is the ward save on the unit, and Hammerers are fantastic, Tom. Like if there was a way to make a Hammerer unit core, my gosh,
you'd be taking it.
Yeah, unfortunately, Royal Clan was probably that one shot to get like one unit. Instead, they went.
They didn't take it.
They went. This is too broken. Maybe they did it in testing as a whole. And again, Royal Clan can only take non-gunpowder based artillery weapons, which is grudge throwers and bolt throwers, which he's done here. Again, he's done the same thing I have, which is added the Rune of Skewering to ignore armor saves. And a big block of iron breakers as a whole. So it's a non-traditional Royal Clan list. But
with some traditional elements, I guess, like the king and
king, but it's 4 blocks that are going to be hard to shift in combat. The only commentary I'd make here is there's no runes of passage anywhere in the list, which means that any difficult terrain, and he's moving 2 inches a turn.
Yeah.
Which is disgusting, like, or marching 4 inches, which is massive as a whole. So Chris has drawn probably his worst nightmare in terms of combat lists. There's 4 bad choices to charge into as a whole. If I had to put them in order of probably preference of, well, let's do that in the reverse. Actually, as a dwarf player, the ones I'd want you to charge, I'd want you charging the Iron Breakers. I'd want you charging the Hammerers for sure, the Longbeards as a whole, and wouldn't want you charging the Royal Clan Warriors. But the only thing going for Chris here is there's no great weapons on the Longbeards. There's no Gromril axes on the Royal Clan Warriors as a whole. So the Hammers are the only ones that are going up to high strength here. So that's probably the unit to avoid at all costs. The Iron Breakers, just, don't do it, man. You just get mired.
I think also the good thing that might be going for Chris here is that he doesn't have that much shooting to worry about, really. So his Ogre Tyrant on the Stonehorn is just going to be able to have free reign.
Yeah.
So long as he can avoid the king with the Ogre Tyrant, I think that will pose quite a risk, which is good. And, this could also, as you've stated, be a really good exercise in saber tusks, just flinging them forward at that artillery. Not that I think that he's too worried about the artillery in this match anyway. The grudge throwers, I believe, what are they? Strength 3, strength 6. Is that right?
Yeah, I think
strength 6 over the middle hole.
Strength 8 in the middle hole.
So it's 4 and 8, or
yeah, I'm pretty
3
sure
and 8.
It's 8 because and it's D3 wounds on the central hole as well.
Yeah, but I just mean for the footprint. What's the strength of the risk to get hit? Is it strength 3? Because that really doesn't worry ogres too much.
It's only the main one. Look at this is peak Warhammer content. It's 4 strength 4.
Oh well, that's better
4 and 8
for Damien. That's worse for Chris. But yeah, look, this will be interesting. I mean, if you can get that Stonehorn in a flank of any of these units, really, other than the one that contains the king, you'll probably be able to get a pretty good good time.
The Master in Hesitation on the Ironbreakers stops impact hits because what it does is it says you don't count as charging. Now, you have to be very careful with the Master in Hesitation now 1.5 because if you don't count as charging, Tom, what do the fight and extra ranks now say? If you weren't the unit that charged, you get that extra rank.
Interesting.
So if you charge this unit with infantry, rules as written application is
you get an extra rank.
You get you as the attacker get your extra rank as well.
Interesting.
Yeah. So for ogres, not great. You're only getting one attack as a whole. But again, against anything that causes impact hits, chariots, and so forth, the Ironbreakers just become impossible to deal with. Also, the ogre unit impact hits themselves. Anyway, let's move on to what we know you want to talk about.
Well, this is just the sort of my variation of Chris's roster. So we've got the Tyrant. This time mine's on foot, but otherwise pretty similar. So we've got Tenderizer, which is your +2 strength, D3 multi-wound weapon with an extra attack, yada, yada, yada. Armor of Meteoric Iron, which means that he can never be taken less than a 5-up armor save. And we've also got the Death Cheater for those cheeky little killing blow shots. My Slaughtermaster is very similar. Lore Familiar and Power Scroll. Also level 3 Battle Magic, which is not included there, but it should be. Apologies. And then we've got a Bruiser with the Rune Maw, which I think will come in clutch for my pairing. But we've got the Rune Maw, heavy armor, with a great weapon. And all of my characters, of course, have Death Cheater to always try and, once per game, try and get rid of a killing blow or maybe save them and save some points. I've gone for 9 Iron Guts, and I've gone for the Demon Slayer Scars on the Iron Gut champion, just because he's going to be the one that's going to be not accepting challenges. Sorry, it's going to be the Tyrant that's going to be accepting the challenges almost all of the time. And then, of course, we've got Veteran, so they can reroll basically everything between the BSB and between Veteran, and the Cannibal Totem for that 5-up regen. So you got Oak and Shield off of Battle Magic, you got the Heavy Armor off the Standard, and then you got the Cannibal Totem for 5-up regen. I've gone for 3 units of 20 Noblars just to try and really flood that mid-ground, or maybe keep my baggage train safe, whatever have you. I'm going to be trying to really play the objective game, or also place threats with high unit strength in the domination sort of quarters. And you can also use the Noblars as line of sight blockers, or at least cover generators, right? So I can really hamper my opponent's shooting. So they're quite flexible. I've gone for 2 units of 3 Lead Belchers, so hopefully they can sort of deal with some opponent's heavy armor, like cavalry, etc., before they actually close into my lines. And they can also try and deal with chaff as well, which I think ogres generally struggle with quite badly. So they pop 3 shots per gun. I can use Curse of Arrow Attraction out of Battle Magic to try and make them a little bit more consistent, which I think is good. Unfortunately, I couldn't afford Veteran, but we'll see what happens. I've got an Iron Blaster, and then I've gone for a rare unit Stonehorn because I had the choice between either the Mournfang or the Stonehorn. I'm just really, really terrified of all the shooting. I think, you're spending upwards of 300 points on Mournfang. They're only T4. If you give them great weapons and heavy armor, they're only a 4-up armor save as well, thanks to the armored hide. So I don't know. I just don't have a good feeling about them. And I'm notoriously bad at playing cavalry. Whereas at least with the Stonehorn Rider, it's T6. It's reducing multi-wounds. It's, you can try and keep it close for the Leadership 7 counter with your BSB and your General's Leadership, etc. And it's good at killing baggage trains, I find, because you can't really just kill it in one shot. Like, you really have to put in a bit of effort. And first charge is strong to try and deal with some of these big units. So that's what I'm working with, and we'll see.
Yeah, and the thought that came to mind, like, first mission has to be your absolute best, right? Because the 9 Iron Guts being your combat threat and your main scorer is pretty good. It's pretty good. Unfortunately, there's a lot of difficult terrain as a whole, but ogres being movement 6 base,
that's right,
is totally fine, right? And again, objective play, go park yourself on it, come at me. As a whole, veteran, so good, essential. As a whole, yeah, I agree with you. 3 Noblar units is great because
I feel like that's the minimum.
Yeah, well, especially in the quadrants, right? But
that's right.
You're, the sneaky unit are the lead belchers.
Yeah,
because people, okay, they're not unit strength 10 for scoring the central objective, but
or core,
core, but if you're not careful, yeah, you're right, but core. If you're not careful, they can suddenly outnumber you in a quadrant. Boom, you're gone.
Because there's still 9 a pop, right?
Yeah.
So that's the hope. I'm not 100% sold on the lead belchers yet, but I don't really know what I would put instead of them. I'm probably not going to be seen putting bulls in little units of bulls. I'd rather just take Noblars. But I've put together, nearly 40 Noblars, and I want to shoot myself. So I don't know if I'm going to get any more. I've got 60 in the box, but oh Christ, it's not looking good.
Yeah, I don't miss the days of having to cut stuff off sprues and gluing it together.
It's brutal. It's actually brutal.
Well, I actually realized now that was the part of the hobby I hated most. Right. And I used to hate hobbying, quote unquote, but it was 80% that. And now that I just dedicate all my time to painting, because the model comes out literally in
ready
one piece,
yeah,
right? Then it's like, cool. Well, the propeller was not that one. If you see there, we'll go. I mean, we'll talk about it in hobby when we get there as a whole. So you've gone for power scroll here, and is that to make sure on the critical turn you can get that ward save?
Oaken Shield must go off.
Yeah.
Oaken Shield must go off. That's basically the mantra of this roster.
Yeah.
I've got what, 27, 30, 33. I've got a base 36 unit strength out of the ogre unit with the iron guts. And hopefully by the time that hits and connects, you're sitting around the 30 mark because you only lost 2 or 3 ogres, and you'll be able to reduce whatever you're dealing with. So I'm really hoping to leverage that as my mainstay. So power scroll for the Oaken Shield, or maybe a clutch Arcane Urgency or something similar.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The utility of power scroll now is so good.
It's big.
It's big. Weirdly, I don't think we're going to see many dispel scrolls. Mostly because we're seeing less magic, and I think we've said this a few times. Utility magic is now where it's at, right?
Yeah, big time.
Like when I was playing demons, and demons will make a return, but the games where I had Steed of Shadows were just completely different to the games that I didn't have that. Or when my Great Unclean One rolled up Infernal Gateway and he could teleport himself around the battlefield, were completely different to the games that he couldn't do that. And the damage spells, whilst they've been nerfed by the fact that harder to get off, less reliable as a whole,
less utilitarian, or
Yeah.
they're just
I know we're not talking about demons here, but I would still absolutely take Tzeentch Flamers at level 3, at least 1 unit, if not 2, to make sure that I can get those spells.
Definitely. So let's have a look at what I'm playing against, because it's pretty scary. So I've never played against orcs and goblins before, nor have I ever played against Jacob. So this is going to be a really fun, unique game. Now, we've got 4 characters. We've got a war boss, a big boss, an odd nob, and an odd nob. He hasn't listed which one is going to be his general, but I assume it's going to be the one with the Armor of Destiny.
I would assume so, yes.
So basically, Armor of Destiny is 5 up, 4 up. Grizzly Trophy is your -1 leadership bubble. So that's kind of cool. We've got a big boss with the War Banner for extra combat res. Armor of Mork gives magic resistance. And then Walloper's One-Hit Wonder is your once a game strength 10 AP3 always strikes first attack. So it's pretty good. Where I think this would normally be super, super terrifying for ogres is with his level 3 Lore Familiar Odd Nob. So he's going for a Lore Familiar Power Scroll, Headsman's Axe, and an Illusion. So he's definitely going for Spectral Doppelganger. He can choose it with his Lore Familiar. He's got a Power Scroll to make sure that he gets it off. And then he's got Headsman's Axe to make sure that he's getting Killing Blow and all that kind of stuff. Now, I've got Runemore. And luckily, Spectral Doppelganger is an Assailment spell, which means that on a 3-up, you just can't cast it. So that is, I will be clenched every single time on that 66%. Is going to be so strong.
Be like crushing depth of clenching happening there, because if you fail that, you know what's going to happen, Tom. You absolutely know that you're going to fail it. He's going to roll 12 hits, right? Headsman's Axe has Killing Blow, and he's going to kill the entire unit. He's going to roll 9 6s, and of course, you're not going to have cast. It's going to be biblical.
It's going to be the turn that Oakenshield didn't go off.
It didn't go off. You failed Runemore. He's going to one-hit it, and he's playing the not all goblin list, right? The only orcs in his list are goblin. Do rock lobbers come with an orc boy?
Surely not. A goblin rock lobber? Surely not.
I'll have a look.
So look, that'll be interesting, and that'll be like the sweat. I can already feel the sweat on my body now, and we're still 6 days. Yeah, 6 days away. So it's gonna be a big one.
Well, look, let's get real for a second, Tom. Keep going to the core section and read item by item, please.
Okay. So we've got 35 Night Goblins. Well, first off, we've got a level 4 Odd Nob, which is great. Ruby Ring of Ruin. That's all good to go. 35 Goblin Knobs. Hand weapons, we know what they do. Short bows, 18-inch range, strength 3, can shoot no matter how close you are at the charger. Netters, that's not going to do anything for Tom, against Tom. In fact, that's got more of a chance of hurting Jacob in this instance.
Yeah.
Just because I'm always going to wound on 2s.
Yeah.
We've got the boss, whatever. We've got the Standard Bearer, the big red raggedy flag. Now, this really upset me when I saw this. I thought, for the first time in my ogre's career, maybe I'll be able to actually wound something or hit something on a 3-up, right? For the first time in my life. Lo and behold.
Tell me how you feel.
The big red raggedy flag can, in fact, give extra weapon skill. So I'm going to be hitting on 4s, wounding on 2s, whatever. It's standard, stock standard. It just upset me a little bit. We got a musician, and then we got 3 fanatics. Now, fanatics is where this gets saucy, right? You can't target them. Not 1, not 2, but 3. Yeah, exactly, as sign language would have. So you can't target them. They're going to do D6, strength 5, AP3, sort of whacks every time they move through something or every time I move through something. I'm just hoping that they hit terrain. I'm hoping that they roll a double on the dice that they use to spit out. And, I'm also thinking you can target these guys with breath weapons. So I'm thinking my Iron Blaster can come up and breath weapon the Fanatics, because that's the only way you can actually target them with, what's it called?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
With wounds. So that's a potential there. That's a potential.
So I've played Fanatics once, and is it literally they just die if they hit any terrain, or does it have to
Any
be
terrain.
impassable?
Oh,
Right.
I don't know. I thought it was just any.
Yeah, so I'll just read it. If a Fanatic moves into difficult, dangerous, impassable, or any type of linear obstacle, oh gosh. So that includes an entrenchment.
Ooh.
It comes to a sudden and terminal stop and is immediately removed from play as a casualty. Okay, so that's not so bad if there's a water feature smack bang in the middle of the board as a whole.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. I think for a lot of other more fragile factions, the Fanatics are disgusting. The fact that they wound me on 3s and not 2s is better. I'm not saying it's good. And they'll have a lot of play to really hurt my ogre boys, which are quite expensive, instead of mowing down some infantry, or maybe they'll go through some noblars or something similar. But yeah, I've never played against this. I think basically what I have to do is just eat it and get into these night goblin mobs, and pray that random movement goes against them.
Look, you can't be. I love this list so much because who doesn't love an all goblin list, right? So that it's going to be absolutely wild times with him. You could even go with a fireball on your one, or your breath weapons, and go snotling mobs, Tom. Snotling pump wagons. I know we're skipping ahead on here, but incredible.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's going to be really cool. There's just a lot of shooting. Like, you've got the bolt thrower, you got the double bolt thrower, then you've got 2 rock lobbers, and then you've got a doom diver catapult as well. So that's a lot of utility that could just really tear my ogre block apart. So we'll see what happens. The other night goblin mob has basically exactly the same loadout, except has poison shots instead.
Yeah.
So that's okay. Really, I'm looking at just eating one, if not both, of these night goblin mobs. I'm going to be very interested to see whether or not Jacob goes 2 and 2 here in terms of his character distribution, or if he goes the big 4 and just puts them in one unit. The lead belcher is going to be interesting here. I really feel like I just have to try and tear apart some of these, snotling mobs and maybe some bolt throwers, etc. And I really just have to get my unit into his unit. The Stonehorn could come in clutch here, with some big sort of impact hits. It can threaten some of this artillery out the back, and not take a lot of wounds in return. So yeah, look, it's going to be a good game. I think advantage Jacob. Yeah, but we'll see.
I think you'll be, as you've joked about, clenched. The Rune War is going to be carrying a lot, because not only is it Spectral Doppelganger, it's like, okay, so that one of the tools in the belt got turned off. But then there's like, you know what? I'm just going to try Itchy Nuisance.
Yeah, the debuffs in this is insane.
It's like the chances of you failing at least one Rune Maw roll are over 4 or 5 turns against the debuff spells.
Well, I fail every 3rd spell.
Exactly.
Right? That's
so there's a lot going on here. And by the way, Tom, you're forgetting that in Illusion, he can also get access to
Crystal Column,
Glittering Robe. What did you say that you were hitting on before?
Force.
And
Force.
And so Glittering Robe is a 8+ to cast, right? And so then you'll be hitting on 5s if he gets it off.
Yeah, that'd be bad. That'd be really upsetting.
Yeah, and it
That'd be
is
really
range
upsetting.
self, so even in combat, he will be casting it as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and that's not a rune more stop. That's just
no. But I have to say, I haven't looked at War Magic I feel like
it's good. It's good.
such a long
It's
time.
really good against ogres, I think. Like I'm not trying to be that guy that's like, oh, everything's good against ogres, but this feels like a pretty hard matchup for me.
Yeah.
I've gotten a little bit lucky maybe on the mission distribution. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Exactly.
Oh, interesting. So, okay. Yes. I mean, Foot of Gork is hilarious. Right. I've seen that do some great things at the doubles event as a whole. But yeah, I mean, I think you've got an interesting game ahead of you. I'm praying, Tom, that these are like the goblin units have the individual netted models as well.
Oh,
like
the old school.
Please, Jacob. If you don't have them, I'll print them for you.
That will print them for you. Exactly.
Yeah. Because that is like you talk about iconic units, like a night goblin unit with netters. It's just top 5. Top 5 to me.
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. I mean, night goblins are so iconic in general. So
yeah,
it's going to be a really interesting one.
Yeah. So if I see you crying,
let's just time out. I'm going to go get my girlfriend.
Okay.
From downstairs, and I'll be back in 1 sec.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's move on.
Real quick before we move on, get out of it. Go back. If you guys have any comments or ways that you think I could be able to beat this, I'd love to hear them because I'm shitting myself. It's gonna be
number one
be a big one.
ogre player in Australia here, ladies and gentlemen.
No, that's not even true. You just
actually, it was Chris.
Yeah, it's Chris. Actually,
second best.
Yep.
Second best. Second best.
Out of the 2 of us, maybe 3 in Australia, we had number 1 and 2 here on this podcast. So, yeah.
Well, let's move on to our hobby, which again I flashed up before. So I'm making good progress, Tom. Okay,
yep.
I would say, anecdotally, I'm 60% of the way there.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So the ranges are mostly complete. Like, where they just need terrible lighting. They just need their basing, and they just need their washing as a whole. Here is an example of the base that we're going for. So we're going for crystals again.
Lovely. As
a whole, red and blue. I'm thinking maybe of doing some green crystals as well, just throwing a bit of a mix in there.
Bit of winter interest.
Yes, well, I've got the striking scorpion green, which I can add in, maybe with a bit of yellow, maybe with a yellow ink to get it up there, just to get that touch. This is what I've been working on over the past couple of nights, which are the gyrocopters. And I actually had ordered this black metallic paint, and it has not arrived. I ordered it 2 months ago, right?
No.
Because I wanted a really ultra dark, slightly metallic look without having to wash it down. So I've had to go for the, similar to the cannons, a
bit of a gold,
a copper look, right, as a whole. And what I've done is, I don't know if you can see that. I've done it to the wrong side, Alex. Can you see that? No, you can't. Is starting to try to paint in the engine burn on the rims itself. So of course, these are dwarves that have jet engines in this circumstance as a whole.
Very futuristic. Very
futuristic as a whole, but they fit the vibe. It looks bright right now, but this thing is gonna get oil washed down quite dramatically.
Okay.
Because what the effect that I want it to go for is that when you look at the model as a whole, so that's going to be flying above the base. I want the crystals to be the pop of the model. So you can see on the left-hand side here the cannons, which have just gone through quite simply copper with a black oil wash, right?
Now, that looks great.
It's a great effect. Once it goes again on its base, we'll start to add a lot more colors into it. And because I've got an airbrush, I will be doing some very slight OSL of the reds, greens, and blue crystals onto the models themselves. So the models look, I'm hoping that even though the models look quite dark now, and they're going to be even darker, right? After we go again, once we get the OSL going, it will add in a bit of variety.
No, I think that'll look great.
Yep. So wish me luck, though.
Look, you'll get him done. You've got a week left.
Yeah.
So you'll get him done.
Yep.
So we know that Chris, he's getting his Noblars ready, but he's actually using Night Goblins as his Noblars, which I think is very cool. Yep. Everyone loves a Night Goblin. So this is his work in progress. So he's basically contrast painting and getting them all done, and he hopes to have them all finished by Saturday as well.
He will.
So that's his hobby. And then obviously he can start a Night Goblin army, I guess, because he's always been...
Well, he's only got 40. He's only got 40, right?
True. Well, I mean, the guy that I'm playing, he's only got 60 9 or something, or 67. So I guess, that's he's halfway there.
Yeah. So...
we got the real deal here,
I was
boys.
half expecting the Noblars to be in a particular layout which would represent a hand with a middle finger as a whole.
Yeah, right. No, so with my Noblars, basically the reason that I've laid them out like this is because I don't want any of them to have the same head. Because unfortunately, I was expecting, I don't know what I was expecting, but I think I was expecting the Noblar models to be a little bit nicer.
More dynamic?
Or a little bit more dynamic. And I thought maybe I'd have the option to put an arm or a leg on here, but they're literally just, they come out like this.
Is it literally just one piece?
And then you put the heads on, and that's it. So, look, they're a 15-year-old kit. I can't complain.
And that's one of the new ones, Tom.
Exactly. So I've got 3 packs. So I've got, I think, 72 Noblars at my disposal. I am going to have a little bit of fun. I also bought the Great Moor Pot from Age of Sigmar, so I can sort of fiddle around with that and make tents and a couple of army pieces, etc. The Great Moor Pot was significantly too big for the baggage train base, so I've had to make do and make a tent now.
I don't want to hear that, okay? If I go with the blimp, this thing is going to be the size of
No, you don't understand.
Of this
you
Glen
don't understand.
20
I'll show
can.
you on Saturday how ridiculous this is. But I'm going to use it for some terrain. I'd love to get my board going again, because when I used to play Shatterpoint, I used to have a beautiful, beautiful board that I've sold.
That's literally going to be my baggage train.
And I'm going to do it in snow and make sure that it looks sort of like an ogre camp. It's going to be very exciting. So what I bought with the Great Moor Pot can be a bit of a centerpiece. Yep. And then this tent can be my mobile baggage train, which I'm excited about. I think also, and look, call me crazy, despite the fact that WSWG events are the best in town, I think this is going to be my last The Old World tournament until I get my ogres done, because I'm sick and tired of coming up with grey plastic. I never used to be that guy. And unfortunately, doing a degree full time is not really conducive to getting your hobby done. So I've got 3 months off, end of November, and lo and behold, mark my words, you will not see me after this event at an event without a fully painted army, because I'm sick of it. I've had enough. I've had enough. Okay, I'm done.
You're not done.
I'm done.
You're not done. That's not one that we're going to hold you to. Because as a behemoth,
you
Tom,
have to
rep us. You have,
it's true.
You
no,
have
look,
to become Australia's
#1
ogre player.
I'm never not going to be playing ogres. Alex.
Oh, well, hang on a minute.
Stand back.
I thought there was whispers.
Oh, there's whispers.
Rumors. We've had intelligence agencies reach out. Oh,
There's whisters.
of a possible new faction. This is organization at its finest.
Look, I don't know where the dice have gone. That's my cupboard. Ignore that. I've gone for Cathay.
Is that right? Is that right, Tom?
It's right. And I bought them. When I was over in Warhammer World, proof, I went, this is legit. When I was over in Warhammer World, I ended up buying the Cathay Journal because I thought, stuff it. You only live once.
Just
also
go
bought
for it, Tom.
something really cool.
Oh, gosh.
Dedication to ogres. Look at that.
Oh,
They were selling the original army book prints at Warhammer World, so I bought one because
I thought they didn't exist, Tom,
ogre fanatic.
according to Games Workshop.
Warhammer World, they do exist, my man. I also bought the limited edition dice because I'm a psycho, and I just don't know where they are. Maybe I've been robbed.
They've been robbed.
But anyway, I'm going to do them, but I'm not going to be attending another event until I've got a fully painted army. Mark my words. Mark my words.
We'll see. We'll see about that one. Okay. So, that's it. So Alistair, unfortunately, again, couldn't join us tonight. I did see him today, actually. He was hosting the local community fete, and he was the MC of the entire event. So he looked like a Texan oil baron down at the local golf course selling high value real estate as a whole. Absolutely looked the part. Stellar job that was done. I was shattered because my dog wasn't allowed to enter.
Oh.
Because I didn't pre-register, didn't read the actual requirements, Tom. I'm not known for that.
Always do that. Read the players pack. Read the players pack. Rule 1.
Yes. As a whole. But yes, okay, well, that was a successful quick dip into the lists that are coming out. Shout out some of the other podcasts. I think Paddy Brown, Alex Brown from 2+ will be doing something at a holistic data level. Yeah. Hopefully this week, Fanatics will be streaming tomorrow night. Hopefully about the lists as a whole and the vibes and a bit of a community table around that. But yeah, we're down to the last week as a whole. I think everybody is in that exciting phase of, yep, I'm playing this person. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do?
Exactly.
Like overthinking, pouring 98% of the mental energy into game 1 and then getting to game 2 and going, I'm exhausted.
Yeah,
I'm exhausted. Exactly. Take it easy, guys. Take it easy.
Well, yeah, on that note, save my brain and give me some feedback on what you think I should do and how you think I should tackle it. I would love to hear your thoughts and techniques. Make me a better player and make you better content. Right? That's the contract that we operate by. So I'm very, very excited for my final Warhammer tournament until
well, that's it. That's it.
Until I've got a fully painted army. I'm very excited for it.
Literally 2026.
Let's write the ogres off with a bang, hey?
Yep. And then you turn up with a fully painted Cathay army. Yep, I get it. I get it. Well, thank you, Tom. We'll leave it there for now. And to everyone listening who's made it to the end, thank you for continuing to listen to the channel and support us. We've just hit over 300 subscribers. Yeah. Again, we started as a local channel. That's really just our vibe and will continue to be our vibe as a whole. But yes, nice to see people tuning in, signing up, and I'm sure we'll bring you guys a recap of the event. But until then, have a good night.